You know what we can do? We can go ahead and talk about how you're still disrespecting Dr. Strange like that. Now,
Dumb.
I know, right?
We're live.
Welcome to Puro Pinche Sports. I am your host, Jose Garza. My co-host today is Arturo Ibarra. Oh, I pointed the wrong way. This way. There you go. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Good, man. At least my name's not being dragged around all over media outlets, like CP3 is, because of his piss poor performance in the last series of the NBA playoffs. But it is what it is. But dang, Art, it's been a while. It's been a while. We've had some things going on. We've had like, some Canelo fights, upsets. We've had some UFC fights, some title vacancies. We've had the NBA playoffs. We've had the NBA lottery come out. We've had the NFL schedule release. I mean, overall, your thoughts in the last 2 weeks are like, what are you feeling right now?
Well, first of all, we were supposed to have an episode last time. Someone
Last week,
decided
yep.
to bail. Yeah, someone decided to bail out like the other co-hosts. This guy right here decided to do uh, pull a last minute thing. But you know what? It's family things and just all this stuff going on, man.
I like how you how
But
you, you called out someone else while you had to go ahead and call yourself out. So let
hey,
me not go down alone. Let me go ahead and bring down someone else with me.
let me bring down
Yeah,
all the
that's
co-hosts that always say they're gonna be here, and they always like do the same thing. But
hey
hey,
man.
whatever.
You
This
leave
is
that.
this is what
You
makes
leave,
things this fun, though. We always
that's right.
do things last minute, though,
That's right. I
and it
was
works
talking
out.
about you.
We're talking about everyone. No, but going back to the CP3 thing, man, it's crazy how.
First, let's bring in the air for anybody who probably hasn't caught up on the whole thing, because we mentioned CP3, but we didn't mention who's the person talking shit about him.
Well, CP3 is a
Patrick, Be-
goat. What? Um,
well, Patrick Beverly, guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves, formerly Clippers, Rockets, you name it, went on ESPN this week. Was an invited guest. Got on Get Up, First Take, bunch of their shit, Sports Center, and he took the liberty, man, of just enjoying roasting the hell out of Chris Paul, and a lot of it was for him the truth, authentic. What he felt was real. Just digging his heels into it and with no remorse. But Art, I'll go ahead and I'll let you go ahead and discuss it. What were your takes on Pat Bev coming out like that? I'll go after you.
so I believe the reason why he went on the show was because of a video that surfaced before during the playoffs whenever they got eliminated. Um, and it was just something about him making fun of them losing and like all of that stupid stuff. So
I think that was
we know Stephen A. Like he likes to be on the moment, and he always bashes people, but it's content. That's the way that he does his content, and that's how he keeps people entertained. That's how he gets viewers. So to me, it's like, yeah, he's calling people. He's calling Pat on the video, and then he's calling Pat on some of the comments that he makes during the video and how he mentions the CP3 as a cone. But to be completely honest, that's what Pat is going on. And like, yes, I know he says there's more history behind that people don't know and everything. And yeah, of course, like there's history behind that. But I think that what keeps sports alive and interesting is all this beef that goes in between players, because it brings out the best on them. And it goes with everything. We saw with Luka and Booker. Like, it's like it's one of those things. Like, I don't think. I mean, yeah, Luka's great and everything. Booker's great either. Like, they're both great players, but there's this friction between them. It's like, hey, no, I'm gonna beat you. So it's the same thing with Pat and CP3. But after the whole episode, we see this whole thing with Danny Green just going into
Matt
uh,
Barnes, Damian Lillard,
like,
Kevin Durant, everyone
yeah,
got
everyone
on
went
him.
into him, and
Yeah, on Pat Bev. Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter who you're guarding. If you're guarding, like, it's, I know Stephen makes like, oh, if you're 6 foot, blah blah blah, you're taller than CP. It's like, at the end of the day, when you're tired, or not even when you're tired, but like, if there's someone else who has better handles or they can handle the ball better, they got better ball movement, they're gonna walk through you. It doesn't matter how great of a defender you are. I mean, we saw that with Kawhi. Like Kawhi is a great defensive player. We saw that with Rudy. Like it doesn't matter how great you are of a defensive player if the offensive player is better in the sense of like handling the ball and getting through to the buckets. Like you're gonna be the cone. It doesn't matter. Like you're gonna be the cone. So that's my point on it. I think Pat's just
when Pat Bev says he's a cone, he's saying that he never moves. It's easy to get past him. It's easy to get around him, and not a tough situation for him. Pat Bev is a talented defender. Don't get me wrong. Like he knows a lot more than a lot of people do. But the problem is that you're talking about a guy who's a 9-time All NBA defensive player. 7 times of those he was first team. So when you're disrespecting Chris Paul like that, you're talking a lot of shit. You need to back it up with your own shit. You got to know, guys, that Pat Bev, he averaged a good like 11, 4 in his series against, Memphis and all that shit during the playoffs. He had a nice little run. But it wasn't comparable to the CP3's numbers. Even on his worst round, which was his second round right now against the Mavericks, CP3 still did better. Matt Barnes said it best. On his worst day, he's still better than you. And it's just fact. CP3 has earned a legacy. CP3 is a superstar. Wherever he goes, he's one of the top players on that team, regardless. He's done things that nobody can do. Pat Bev, here, for example, the New Orleans Hornets drafted Chris Paul, before they went to becoming the Pelicans. They drafted Chris Paul. He took them to the playoffs. He made them a top team. He made them relevant. He wasn't getting help, so he left to the Clippers. You know who the Clippers are? Shit. Like, nobody gives a damn about the Clippers because they're the LA team they're the B team. They don't do anything. They're the JV team. They never succeed, but he made them relevant because nobody was talking about the Clippers. He made them relevant. He made them challenge when the Lakers weren't doing anything themselves. But the year, after Kobe, kind of was not even himself no more. Then he goes to Houston. You know how close? If he doesn't get hurt in that series, that conference finals against the Warriors, the Rockets actually have a chance to go to the finals. How crazy is that? And it wasn't CP3's ego that got him out of Houston. It was James Harden. Harden's ego cost them, going forward.
After we've seen his ego taking him out of many teams.
And we can talk about him later on. And then we go on, and he goes to OKC. Dude, nobody has OKC going to the playoffs. What does CP3 do? Make them a playoff team. Make them tough. Make them, fight everything. He makes them look so good. And no one can believe it. Because after he left, they're nothing again. They're trash. And he now goes to Phoenix, and they go to the NBA Finals on his first season there. So everywhere he goes, he makes them better. Don't get me wrong. Pat Bev is a good defensive player. He's a good role player. He ain't CP3. He ain't a big star. He ain't that guy. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a role player. He's got a little role, but he's backseat. He's the 4th, 5th option for the team.
He just got noticed by people in the past season after he made the change from his team because he became significant to the team in some sense of either defensive play or offensive play. But it's because there's other people in that team that make him shine and do what he does. Like
he's a career 8 points a game. A career 8 points a game, 8.8. You ain't gonna tell me that what you've done in your career, you're better. Because he said this when he was talking to Matt Barnes, when he was talking to Stephen A. He said, I went to a camp with him and I destroyed him. And I'm making a point that he's, overhyped, overtalked. That no one, talks down to him the way they talk about Ben Simmons or shit like that. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Chris Paul didn't take his ball home and fucking sat on the couch and broke his back. CP3 didn't do that. Ben Simmons did. There's a reason why nobody's putting their names together. It's not the same level. One of them's gone to the finals. The other one hasn't. One of them's going to be a Hall of Famer. The other one isn't. So that you can't disrespect somebody as talented. Now, I got this question yesterday by a friend of mine, very knowledgeable about basketball. He asked me, so why is it okay for guys like Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, or all these sports media guys that have never played at that level, right? Because they might have played, in high school or, whatever. I said, you know why? Because the NBA players don't give a fuck about them. That's why they talk. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to talk. But it's a different story. You saw how the reaction was for Danny Green, for Matt Barnes, for Damian Lillard, for KD. They all stood up for CP3. Because what is Pat Bev? I mean, what is he, Art? I mean,
not about Pat Bev. Like you said it right. You said it correctly. Like, it's about talking and making like media content. But at the end of the day, I feel the reason why all those players stood up and defended CP is because of the respect that they have for him and the kind of game that he's brought to the NBA. It's not because of that. I believe anyone could have made that comment. And we've had instances where the guy from the Warriors, Danny, what's his name? Damn it, I just lost.
Not Danny Green, Draymond Green,
wherever he just like talk smack. And there's other players that come on and like, nah, dude, you're trash. Like all you are is what, defensive player of the year? Like you haven't done shit. Yes, you won rings, but it's not because of you. So like it's media thing that just goes around. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's the players having the respect for CP. And then, like you said, Pat, he's nothing. He's not.
So when Draymond gets on the microphone, because he has his own little podcast with the Volume Network, he does talk his shit, right? A lot of it's more about himself, trying to hype himself up, hype his boys up, right? Respectfully, of course, he's got to go for his guys. He's part of LeBron James, sports team, so he's got to talk them up too. But like, here I'll say this because you said he's just, okay. So let me ask you this: do you think Draymond Green is just a role player, not a star?
So, in my perspective, I've never liked the gameplay of Draymond Green. I don't think he's a star. I think he is just another key piece.
I'd say he's a star, not a superstar.
No. Yeah, he's a star, but like way that I classify them, it's like LeBron James is like, I don't say like superstar. Like it's like that's a star, and then like you have other people. So to me, it's like I wouldn't classify him as a star.
So stars your highest, and so
yeah. Okay. It's like to me, it's like, and then like all right, people who are like known, and then you got your superstar, and then you got your GOATs. And by GOATs, I mean like you got your Michael Jordan, you got your Kobe, you got like all these other people.
Yeah. He's not the number one guy.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to put like I don't even put LeBron James to the GOATs.
I just want to make sure you got your words out on what you think of him first fully before I go on this.
Yeah, but for Draymond Green, I think he's just another key player that he's in a great team.
So I'll say this. Like for me, it's your superstar, your number two guy, your big role player, which is what I think Draymond Green is, and then your role players down towards more the bottom. Draymond Green is that right there, that big role player, because he's a huge facilitator. He's also big on defense, regardless of how much he forces fouls or flops or whatever you want to say about him. He's a key tribute to the team. You can't take anything away from him because they did win a championship before KD got there, and he was part of the 73 and 9 team before they choked the finals.
To me, Draymond, it's another Pippen. Not a Pippen. What's his name?
Rodman.
Yeah, that's
Rodman.
That's who I think he is, and he's not even.
That's fine. That's fine. He's third on the chart. That's fine. No one's saying that he's like. I mean, Jordan Poole right now is putting his name at 2 or 3 right now for the Warriors. But anyways, back to Patrick Beverley. Pat Bev is talking a lot of shit. He can't cash out because guess what? The next time he sees CP3 is going to run through him again, the same way he did the previous year in the conference finals. There's a reason why Pat Bev got so mad. He had to shove him behind his back. He couldn't face him. Pat Bev is quick to get on the mic. He's quick to get, to do all the shit. But he ain't gonna hit you in your face. He's gonna hit you in the back because he's not brave enough to hit you in the face. Yep. So that's my big issue. Is like you talking a lot of shit, but are you willing to say this to his face? Because you haven't. That altercation last year where he shoved him on his back, that wasn't in his. He had you beat. That team had you beat. It's not his fault you didn't have Kawhi. right? Kawhi was on, on the ER, in hospital bed, whatever. And now you're stuck with Karl Anthony Towns, who doesn't know when to play. He's here one day, he's here not the other day. Do you got any more thoughts on this whole interaction?
Nah, like to be completely honest, like I just think like he's just trying to cause drama. He's trying to be known. He's trying to get to
He's
be
trying
known.
to get his name out there. Yeah,
That's it. Because he can't do it any other way. So,
and don't get me wrong. I'll say this: as a Spurs fan, if Pat Bev joined the Spurs, I would love it. He brings an intensity to the court. I love his authentic self. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but you're gonna talk shit. Talk shit the right way. You don't say CP3 is a cone. Bro, like when you target him on every play, you're gonna get worn down every play. And now you're also the facilitator and the leader for the offense as well. You're gonna get worn out, bro. It just happens. All right, you play basketball, stamina. Like it's just if they pick on you, it's just gonna happen. So
yeah, you can't play both defense and offensive at the level that CP3 plays back and forth.
And CP3 will tell you, man, he was ass. He was ass the second round. He'll tell you.
He was tired. And it's not an excuse, but it's he was tired. And it's
And was it embarrassing for game 7 for them to fold the way they did? Absolutely. It was hell of embarrassing. They were at home, they folded. I think they were down as high as 46 points. That's embarrassing. But
that was embarrassing. I think it was the lowest points, but
I mean, shit happens. He could always bounce back. Now, I don't think they'll have DeAndre Ayton back next year, but that's a story for another day. All right, Art. Well, that's all I got for the CP3 Pat Bev discussion. What do you want to talk about next? We have a nice little list going on. Do you want to talk about the playoffs right now? I'm actually watching the Celtics Heat game right now. No audio or visual, Art, because don't copyrights.
No, we can talk about our predictions. I told you yesterday at our poker night that I thought it was going to be a Mavs Heat. That's what I said. So I'm still holding to that one. I think they're still going to come back.
I don't want to say Mavs Heat for the third time in 16 years. Like, I'm good with that. This time it'd be no Dirk or no Wade. It'd just be weird.
I mean, it would be interesting to see how the Heat puts up against the Warriors. But
it's just a great defensive team, bro.
That's what I wouldn't mind seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing a Warriors Heat game, but I think it's going to be a little bit more even between the Mavs and the Heat. That's just my point.
I mean,
I don't like the Warriors.
Well, why don't you like the Warriors? Because they're overrated in your opinion, or what?
I've never been like. Not that I'm not a fan of their gameplay. Like I like their game plan, but
I respect the fuck out of it.
I've just never been a fan to watch the Warriors. Like it's a fun game. It's a fun game to watch. I don't know. I guess it's like
they're too
to
good.
me it's overhyped. That's why I don't like the team. It's overhyped in the sense of like everyone wants to be a Warriors fan because they won rings. So to me it's like whatever. Like I don't jump into the bandwagon.
Yeah,
I respect the game.
Okay, I was gonna say like you can at least respect it. Now, for me,
I do.
For me right now, like the reason like I picked the Warriors and I picked the Celtics, even though they're probably, good chance to Heat might win. I mean, respect them, right? They were just in the finals 2 years ago. The reason I give the Warriors the edge over the Mavs is because I think I was trying to tell you before you left poker night last night, but I don't see one individual being able to carry a team over to the finals. Like Luka's fucking talented, dude. Like Luka's one of the best out there. He's like what, 23, 24? Like he's so talented. But just like the James Harden Rockets, you can't do it all alone, man. Like Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, like them showing up for Game 7 against the Suns is an anomaly. So I think the amount of points they put up. That's what I mean. Like they're not the level to get you over. A team like the Warriors, who's been there multiple times, right? Like they've been to the conference finals 5 straight years. They went to the finals 5 straight years. They won 3 of them. A lot of people, I'll say it, Marco. I've had like Jesse talking. They've said like, hey, they don't see them coming back. They're done. They're cooked. I never believe so because I think if you get a healthy Clay back, and Clay's not even at his best. I'll say right now, Clay is not even at his best right now. But I still think they'll make the finals. And I got the Warriors, Celtics, but go ahead.
But that's one thing though. Like we're seeing, and I think I sent you this meme, but it's like Luka's like 22 or 23, like you said. So it'll be if he makes it to the finals, it'll be his first final at that age, and he could win his first ring.
All right.
You got
23.
Jimmy, who's never won one ring,
But
and
he's been there.
he may have the chance to win one. Then you got Tatum also, who
All right.
is what, 25, 24, who
He's
could also
24.
get his first ring.
All
And
right.
then you got a dynasty from the Warriors that they could win add another championship to the list. But you're
Yep.
getting a Klay Thompson that just came back from injury. Just like, I just came back from injury and I just won a ring. Like, to me, if the Warriors win and Klay gets
Okay.
his ring, I think it puts him at the conversation of who would be a better key piece, Steph or Klay.
I'd still pick Steph. Personally, I would say because
Well,
he
yeah,
doesn't have yet.
personally.
Because
But
also I'm also contributing. He hasn't had an Achilles tear, God
yeah,
forbid. He hasn't had an ACL, God forbid. I think he's had ankle issues.
he's had his wrist fracture.
Yeah, so he's had
But
those, but that's the main key right there for
like, if
me.
you ask me, like, for me, like, who I like better as a player, I like Klay before the Achilles because I felt like he was getting to that point of where it's like you're getting to that conversation between Klay and Steph being at that same level in the Warriors before the Achilles tear. So for me, if he comes back and he does this, like, all right, yes, he's not his best, but it puts him back at that conversation of saying, shit, like, he could actually be one of those guys that could maybe
I think
be
Clay's
paired
one of the
up
best
to.
players out there.
Yep, I agree.
I personally think he should have been in the NBA 75, the top 75 list. I think he should have been there. Just for my point of view on it, I think because this is how they did it. They kept the same people they had in 50 and then just add another 25. They didn't want to take out the people. But I think at that point, like, look, there's going to be players that have surpassed players of the past that could not keep up with guys from today. They did. Don't get me wrong. They did great for their time. Like, I'm not going to disrespect them, right? They elevated the NBA to a point where we can get to a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson,
Yep.
Kareem, MJ, and so on and so forth. Like, they did their thing to keep the league alive, which is what the WNBA is struggling to do right now to elevate their league. But you're not going to tell me like those guys can keep up with guys from today. So I wouldn't mind if they took out some of the guys just to put in extra, because I know it's getting off subject. Keeping guys like Klay, Manu, Tony Parker, even Kyrie, out is almost like a little blasphemy. I think they'll be in the top 100 in 25 years when they do it, but
I think there needs to be a
that's just my
separate
opinion.
list. I think, yes, you should have your top
Well,
75, top 50.
everyone's gonna have their own list. Like I do.
No, but I think it's like you should have your top 50, top 75, whatever, best all time. But I think the conversation that you're getting at is, I think there needs to be a change of best overall over the whole NBA and today. Like, I think there's a top 50 and there's maybe some key players that don't get off that list. But for example, like, I know they're keeping like Tony Parker and like Manu and all that, but like, I feel like those guys should be on another list because they're not playing anymore. So I wouldn't categorize them as top 50 as
well. They're talking about all
right
time.
now.
Right? They're talking about the whole 75 years of the NBA. They're not talking about.
But you just made the point also. You can't compare like Kyrie to like Michael Jordan, and you can't compare LeBron James to Kobe Bryant. Like, yes, there's conversations like you're surpassing those points.
Oh, you can't compare
But
LeBron and Kobe. They played for a lot of the years, like almost 10
together.
years.
No, I get that, but
yeah.
it's like the type of game that Kobe had was way different than LeBron and Michael Jordan. That's one of those things that's one of those conversations that Mike would be fun to have though. Like, he picks Kobe, I pick Jordan, but it's like you made the point of like those guys, maybe it took them, I don't know how many seasons to make in the all-time leading score. Now people are doing it like nothing. And it's because of like Steph.
The rules changed and stuff like that, maybe. Yeah.
Steph's just shooting threes. So of course you're gonna get to that point faster.
Yeah, fuck it.
So a lot of people didn't play with threes back then. So I think it should get updated. Like, I agree with you on that. There should be some players that maybe
they could
take it out, but
yeah, take out some of the, like, that sound like a dick, old head. Like, they're not as great as some of the ones that came after them. But that's just me. I'm not saying because whatever. It's just that they couldn't compete. But anyways, what is okay? So give your predictions on both playoffs right now. Both like where you're going because that's kind of got off topic on there. That
So I think it's gonna be a game 7 between the Warriors and Mavs. I would want the Mavs to take it, but I think the Warriors are gonna come in clutch. They're gonna win that game 7. On
okay.
the Miami Celtics, I think Miami takes it in 6.
I think I had Warriors in 7, Celtics in 6.
Yeah, I
The,
don't
the,
I
the
don't think
hard
the Celtics.
part, the hard part is, and thankfully Marcus Smart is back. Like the first game, they didn't have Marcus Smart and Al Horford. The second game, they don't have Derek White because he's having a baby. Like his wife's having a baby right now. So, congrats to them. But like they're just missing pieces now. Of course, the Heat are missing like Kyle Lowry and stuff like that. So that kind of hurts them too. But I don't hate any of the teams that would make the finals. I personally just don't think that. I think the Mavs are ready there yet. Like because like I'm saying, man, like they can't. I don't think they'll win a chip with like that. Like you think about a guy like Allen Iverson, AI, who dragged the 76ers to the finals. They only got 5 games against the Lakers, and they got a gentleman's sweep. But it's tough, especially when you're playing a strong team. So I think that's the roadblock the Mavs have right now against the Warriors. Jimmy Buckets, did you ever hear the rumor that Jimmy Buckets is LeBron, not LeBron James, Michael Jordan's lost son?
He doesn't play to the level of Jordan, but I think he's just
Anybody?
one of those. He's just one of those other players that would be in that conversation as Kawhi, DeMar, Clay.
Oh, I think Jimmy
Um,
Buckets above DeMar.
no, well, no, yes, but I'm getting to that clutch
Oh,
player
okay.
like Cloud, like that play that he made against Tatum, like that freaking block, dude. Like you came all the way and blocked the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. He's just clutch like that, and that's why I would put him into that category.
He's a fantastic player. He's a fun player. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of this series. Right now, Miami's up 18-13. It's gonna be a fucking hell of a series. Art, since we didn't really talk much, you know what? Let's actually switch it to something that was interesting news today. So Alabama's head coach Nick Saban criticized the recruiting classes, not the players themselves, but the way that teams acquired certain players, right? Guys they were aiming for a while, and somehow, some way, ended up at Jackson State or at Texas A&M. He's pretty much accusing the programs to paying the players to join them. Very controversial thing, right? Because you're not supposed to, as a school, you're not supposed to be doing that kind of stuff. So both head coaches for both respective teams clapped back, saying, fuck you, you're dirty as hell, essentially. What are your thoughts on the whole thing? Honestly, like, what are your thoughts on the
Tampering,
possibility? Yeah, essentially.
dude. At the end of the day, I feel like some of these guys that are playing college sports, just college sports, period, and we saw the change of how now they can get paid from getting money from companies.
Mm-hmm.
So
You can
at
hear
the
me,
end of the
Bill?
day,
You can
yeah,
hear
no, I
me?
can hear you.
Okay.
But like at the end of the day, it's like these companies that and I'm going based off of this. I know this is like they're talking about like back then and like recently, and they're bringing all this kind of worms. They're opening it up, but
Yeah.
most of these companies are giving contracts to these guys to play college or do whatever right when I get out, also right when they get out of high school. So most of
Mm-hmm.
these companies, they're either Aggies, they're from LSU, they're from Alabama. Like they're gonna want those players to play at that school, and they're gonna give you more money. Like that's at the end of the day, that's how the companies are putting those guys into it. They're tampering in some way, but it's legal to get that money. Now,
But it's illegal to give it to the families or the players or anything like that, through the programs themselves. They have now the players can earn it by sponsorships and stuff like that, and other ways, and get
But
paid
back
for the
then,
likeness
it's
and stuff.
like, how are
Right.
you paying? How are you paying the student? Like at the end of the day, the only way that you would pay him is, oh, you get a full ride scholarship, blah blah blah, this and this and this. Like,
So, allegedly.
yeah, but at the end of the day, you're paying them. Like you're
Yeah.
paying for their college. That's the way that you're paying them, so they can play for your school. And
But are you
whichever
paying
one
them
you
extra? That's a controversy. Are you paying them extra?
paying them extra with what? Like,
Like for example, like, are you giving merch? Are you giving like $1 million to the family to sway you to come to, let's say, UT or to USC? Are you paying them that, on the side without, through like money, not money laundering, like just somehow like through different like
a
accounts and stuff like
donation.
that? Yeah, like, are you doing it that somehow to get them to your area? Because here's one thing that
I
Fox
mean,
is
and if
Shannon
they
Sharp.
do, but if they do, so what? Like at the end of the day,
Well, it
like,
was illegal. It was illegal. That's the point. Like that, it's illegal to
but
do it.
it's illegal to give generous donations whenever you're doing your taxes just so you can get credit off. Like it's we've seen it everywhere. Like people cheat the system. At the
Well,
end of the day, I feel like at the end of the day, it's like if the player wants to play for A&M, no matter how much money or tampering there is, the guy's gonna make the decision at the end of the day,
but
whether
that's
it helps
that's
their
that's
family
the
or not.
question though. Like, because everyone's saying, Nick Saban, why are you bitching about this when you're in Alabama, right? No disrespect to the state of Alabama. Who is really leaving Texas, California, all the areas where you have the best young students come out and play in Alabama? Is it because of the coach? Is it really? Or is it
Because of the
because,
cousin, sister, or something like that, the stepsister or something, whatever. I don't know, dude.
what the
Bama
fuck
people
are
are
you
weird.
going with? What the fuck? I'm okay. You could have don't give a fuck. You got some fucking incest problems of your own over there with them. I'm just kidding. But
Nah,
anyways,
no, but I get you. It's like,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's illegal because players deserve to get paid, right? Regardless, this is a professional sport. The programs, the schools, the SEC, all this other shit, they're getting big money for using you, and you didn't get a dime. Then last year, finally, players can get a dime and shit like that. But like, what But it's just hypocrisy. Like here, for example, I'll give you a little quote that he said, that Saban said about A&M. He said A&M bought every player on their team. We were second in recruiting last year. AM was first. They bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. We didn't buy one player. I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it. That
so
was
you're
his words.
saying,
That was his words about
I
the Texas
know.
A&M.
So you're saying A&M came first at tampering, and you came second.
I mean, it's not tampering. He said recruiting because he can't say tampering.
But if you think about it, like what he's saying is like, oh, they tampered. They were the biggest one. They came in at first.
But it
We
could be
came in at second, but we didn't tamper. It's like, dude, come on. Like maybe you didn't know about it, but how many
yeah,
like
right. They say not know about it.
donations? Yeah, exactly. How many
Yeah.
donations did you get at the end of the year, or at the beginning of the year? Like you're gonna go with what best benefits you to stay at that. Like if they weren't doing that, he would not be the coach there. It didn't matter how many championships he had and how much money they were paying him. Is at the end of the day, is he getting good players to play there? Of course.
Now, it could be, and it is suspicious, right? Like, I think he's trying to get the NCAA to like investigate because he wants them to get hit damage, right? They play each
To
other at the district.
investigate A&M, they're gonna investigate everyone. Like
Well, yeah, but he's throwing accusations at them. He's trying to make it because nobody asked him about A&M. That's the whole point. Like, he brought this up on his own. He gladly wanted to
did they lose
bring
to
it up.
A&M last year?
I don't remember.
How many times
Probably
did they lose?
they only play once a year, or possibly like they didn't lose like multiple. But anyway, like and he's got maybe slightly a point. You're talking about a team that was 8-4 last year. Versus I think Alabama had only lost one game, and I think that was to Georgia at the championship, or maybe the 2 games they lost. But either way, I just think it's bullshit. Like for anybody to accuse another team or anything like that when you're not exactly, your hands aren't exactly clean. Like, what's the what's the like the scripture or whatever the thing is where don't throw a stone if never committed a sin or something like that. Don't cast a stone, whatever. So I'm just saying, Nick Saban. I mean, just keep your mouth shut, bro. Like you're obviously a top coach. You've obviously gotten your team to the freaking college playoffs multiple times, more than a dozen, I'm sure.
He's
And you've
he's
won
just
plenty.
mad. He's literally salty as F, dude. Because they lost to A&M by a 28-yard field goal. And they got rid of their 19 straight win. Like,
Well, I mean, like so this is Coach Prime, Deion Sanders' like response to freaking Nick Saban's accusation. He said, "You best believe I will address that lie Coach Saban told tomorrow. I was awakened by my son. He sent me that article stating that we paid Travis Hunter Jr. $1 million to play at Jackson State. We as people don't have to pay our people to play with our people." And he's talking about like HBCU, players. Most not to sound weird for anybody, but yes, black people love to just like Mexicans, just like whites, they love to surround themselves where they're comfortable with their friends, their families, people that understand and can relate to them. So HBCUs were created because they weren't allowed, people of color weren't allowed in schools of white. So that's why they were created. Now, yeah, Deion Sanders is right. We don't need to pay our guys to come play here. If they love the program, they respect the hell out of it, they'll come here and play. So a lot of respect to the young man. What you send me, Vato? I can't play it.
No, I know you can't. That's why I muted mine in case mine played. But it's this clip from Jimbo's press conference regarding like
you talk
all
while I
of these
listen
people,
to
man.
it.
It's I haven't even heard it, but it's I don't know, dude. At the end of the day, yes, tampering's illegal and everything, but if we're gonna get political and we're gonna get into all these like righteous things of like how many families give donations to get their kids into school, how many people actually decide to go into these schools because they're winning championships. So at the end of the day, I feel like the guys decide to go into the university to play because of the possibility they have to go out into the NFL. Like at the end of the day, it's like which university is going to give me the best route to get into the NFL. One.
And Jackson State's been building up their name for the last couple of years. So, to throw that shade at them, saying that they paid their guy $1 million just to come there.
Nah, but
that's just ridiculous, man. Like
it's one of those things. Like think about it. Like how many people got drafted out of Alabama into the NFL? How many players got drafted out of A&M this year? Like literally, there was not one player that got drafted from UT this past season into the NFL. Zero.
Well, no one cares.
Well, but usually we get a lot of they get a lot of players drafted from UT because it's like, oh, it's one of those top schools, football. Dude, I believe there was one or two people that got drafted from UTSA instead of UT.
UTSA did a good job this year.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's like you're gonna go to whoever gives you the best possibility of winning. And if tampering's the reason, then I guess you can get a gracious donation into your parents' bank account and get a Rolls Royce or something. I don't know.
I'm just saying, man. Like if your hands ain't clean, don't be talking shit about other people's shit. Like that's all I'm saying. Like that's just stupid. How hypocritical can you be? Like you just can't be that hypocritical, honestly. All right, we can move on to that. All right, anything else you want to discuss? The fights last week that we didn't get to, the NFL schedule. Anything you want to talk about, or you just want to leave it for the day?
We can leave it for the day. We can reconvene next time. I know football is coming up again now that the schedule's coming out.
The tickets are out.
Tickets are out and everything.
I want to go to a Pats game for sure. Maybe a Tampa game too, so I can see Tom Brady before he retires for the 20th time. Second time.
Nah, maybe just like you said, maybe we can go to the Bears Pats game out in New England. But
you say you didn't want to go. You say
it'll be interesting, but man, I don't want to go freeze my ass out in.
It's It's early October, so it's not even like you know. Oh
If you want to
yes,
get, if you want to
you're
give me
talking.
the ticket for my birthday,
You're talking. No, first of all, you buy my ticket for my birthday. Anyways, how are you gonna say that when you're gonna go to Lambeau Field, freeze your fucking ass off in Green Bay, enemy territory, but you're talking shit about New England, which is not as cold as Lambeau Field.
why would I want to go to New England, man? It's
Why the
not
fuck
like
you want to go to Lambeau Field?
it's a
Yeah,
historic
yeah, go when it's warm. Don't go
football.
when
Nah,
it's
heck
fucking
no.
cold.
You go to a place where like it's historic because of that. But
Dude, Eric Foreman's ass is still imprinted on that fucking shit from that 70s show. Okay, like
it
there ain't no
wasn't
way.
because it was cold. It was because it was skinny as fuck.
Yes, because it was cold and he was skinny as fuck. It was both. Okay,
But
no, Gillette Stadium, bro. Like, what you talking about? Why are you disrespecting Gillette
now
Stadium? We're
we
talking
can
about.
talk about it. Maybe we can take a trip. It'll be
We
fun.
should. We should. I mean, my wife is talking to my
Nah,
son's
nah, 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 nah,
godmother
nah.
about going over
Nah,
there. You
no,
want to go
no, no.
separate? You don't want to go?
Yeah, no. Hell no. No
That's
disrespect to
nice.
anyone, but like if that's what we're
Nah, that's
gonna
already
do,
disrespect. You already threw him under the bus. That's already disrespect.
it's a guy's trip. No, I'm not gonna be taking no girls, no nothing, dude. Like we're
Oh,
gonna go to a football game. We're gonna enjoy our football games.
we got a nice comment here saying Bears down.
Julian Montejo, who's that?
Uh, probably Alex's side of the family. I don't know, but hey,
All right, Bears down. I'm glad with that.
yes, Bears.
We're probably gonna be like 5 and something though, but
It says Bears are definitely going to the playoffs. I hope. You know.
all right.
Here,
You should just be a Cowboys fan by now, man. If you're
no.
thinking...
Wow, whoa! Don't throw him down under the bus. I don't know.
No. I'm a Bears fan, man. But
You said the same thing last year, and you knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. You put them at the playoffs. You were like, they're about to edge out. They're about to edge out.
hey, I thought that they should. I thought Allen Robinson was gonna go off. He didn't. And you know what? I was listening to
that
some
leadership in organization.
no, but I was listening to some stuff up, and like I want to know what his point is. If Allen Robinson balls out at the Rams, as a Bears fan, is he gonna be pissed off that he didn't ball out with the Bears last season? That's what I want to know.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's right. It's Ryan.
But just as a Bears fan, is he gonna be pissed that Allen Robinson did not go off?
Look, as any Bears, look, as a football fan, I'm a Pats fan. As a football fan, I'm mad for Allen Robinson that he was fucked over by the Bears organization, the front office last year, by the head coach, by the organization, that he was not paid, he was not treated well. Like, there is no reason why his numbers should have been as low as it was. He should have balled out more. Now, first of all, Andy Dalton should have never started for y'all to start the season. Like, the adjustment should have been made for Justin Fields to get the start of the year, ball out, and possibly get y'all close. Maybe close.
The problem with the Bears organization, and I saw that with Trubisky. Trubisky was not a bad QB, and he's not a bad QB. It's the leadership that he has behind, and it's just like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the best prospect from high school to be in the NFL. However, he has bad people around him. So he's not going to be a great person with the Jags until he leaves. And we saw that with Trubisky. Trubisky's potential started coming out whenever he was with the Bills.
No, well, here's a great example, because Julian agrees with what we're discussing right now. Here's a great example. The Bengals. Horrible organization. Don't get me wrong. They are horrible. They are awful as can be. They turned it around. They got the right guy at the front office. They got the right guy to be the head coach for the team. And now look at what they've done. They've turned a terrible organization, the joke of a franchise, to possibly being a possible contender. Yes, a team that went to the Super Bowl because they got the right guy, and then you put the right dude. Like, even like his rookie year before he got hurt, he was balling. He was doing his work. He's doing his stuff to make the team better. They weren't winning much, but you can see slight improvements.
I agree.
But because of the history of the organization, like me, you, and everyone else, respectfully, did not have the Bengals go into the playoffs. Unless you're a Bengals fan, you did not have the Bengals go into the playoffs. And what did they do? They fixed those things up. They tweaked things up, and now people are going to want to go to Cincinnati because you got a guy like Joe Burrow, a guy that you want to follow and respect, like a Peyton Manning, like a Tom Brady. and it's not bad weather and shit like that, they're doing stuff to improve. They're still doing it. They finally are making them an indoor facility to practice because they didn't have that before.
They got their own, like, they went into the draft saying, I'm gonna go into the draft and help my line so that we cannot do the same mistakes that we did last time. And that's great. And that's one thing that with the Bears, like, yes, we're in a rebuild, and I've been hearing just shit going on and on about, like, oh, they don't do anything for Justin Fields. Like, dude, okay, we're gonna have one of the biggest cap size next year. You're buying on cheap receivers, but it's like, all right, let's see what we can do with this. Let's stay afloat onto a rebuild year. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You're rebuilding a team. So I would be surprised if the Bears show
I
up.
think the Bears have the right guys in place to now start moving forward. It's not going to be quick, though. It's not going to be a quick change.
Nope.
They made some pieces, but clearly, wide receiving core is not going to be as good as you had it before. You have to adjust to Justin Fields. Can you adjust to his ways, how he got, better? And Julian says that he never actually thought about that. If you can get the Bears slowly but surely better and just put the right pieces around him, put the right scheme around him, he can ball for you. There's a reason why he was so highly regarded in Ohio State. There's a reason why I wanted him. Like we talked about this. I wanted him for the Pats, not Mac Jones. I didn't want Mac Jones. I wanted him.
And he shows flashes of greatness. Like, okay, so I'm going to compare, and I know, like, we say we're done, but, like, whatever.
We're never done.
Fields has a better chance of becoming and developing better than I feel Trey Lance has. And it's not because of
the reports that Trey Lance hasn't improved. Yeah, you're right.
Trey Lance is not going to play, and he's not going to be a QB1 for his team until they get rid of Garoppolo or Garoppolo gets hurt.
No, but they don't trust him.
And he has the best situation, the best team to succeed.
Out of what, the rookies from last year?
Out of the rookies from last year. He dropped in the best situation to succeed. But they're not going to let him succeed until Garoppolo leaves.
No.
Fields is not in the best position. Mac Jones is not in the best position either, but he's doing what he can with his keys and with the guidance from his coach. At the end of the day,
I would disagree with that. I would say Mac Jones is in the right position.
No, but he's in the right position as head coach wise. Like, he has a great head coach that's gonna teach him, and you saw him develop from what he was to staying in the pocket and being patient. We don't see that with a lot of quarterbacks. They're like, oh, let me just hack the ball out.
Well, yeah, he's a wall. He's not gonna move. Like, you saw him do the little gritty at the freaking Pro Bowl.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, it's
but
horrible,
at the end of the day, it's like you're putting those QBs to that, like, develop. It's like the Jags, like Trevor Lawrence should not be where he's at develop wise, but he's just in a bad situation. He's in a bad team where, yeah, okay, they fixed the outline, they gave him some key pieces to play with, but
they have to overpay. They have to overpay for one. To be fair, they have to.
But at the end of the day,
no one's gonna go to Jacksonville.
If you ask me who I think has a better choice out of, like, those people, I think best position to succeed future-wise in, like, 2-3 years, I think Fields has a better chance. Mac Jones has a better chance. And then I would say Trevor. Yeah, I would say Fields, Max, Trevor would be, like, on those top three. And then you would have the guy from the Jets,
Zach Wilson,
and Trey Lance at the end, because I don't feel that Trey Lance is going to get the to-go job unless something really, really bad happens and they're like, oh, he's our last option.
Okay, you're putting Fields at 1, but I'm going to disagree with you just because of the fact that they haven't done anything yet.
No, I'm saying top 3. On those 3, I could put him either way, but top 3.
Okay. So like, I'm not going to take Trevor Lawrence. Like, I'm not going to put Trevor Lawrence under him because they did overpay for wide receivers are not ones. They paid for, like, wide receiver 1 money to wide receiver 3 guys. I know they had to. Like, they're trying to do what they can, right? But we'll see what happens with Travis Etienne. He'll be back. That'll be a big piece for them.
And Robinson may not be back.
Well, we shall see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, if I have to like rank mine, it's Mac Jones because he's got the best head coach ever in the NFL, possibly, arguably. Then I'll put Trevor Lawrence just because at least they're trying to fix the Urban Meyer BS that he left behind. I would say Justin Fields third for me. Zach Wilson. Actually, no, I'll say Zach Wilson third. And the reason is I'm talking about this season. I'm not talking about the future like you did.
Yep.
I'll say Zach Wilson third because the Jets actually fucking improved.
You heard me. You did everything.
You remember the draft night was nightmare for me. They were a nightmare for me because they got all the right guys and we did not. So that scared me for the division. But I trust our coach somehow, some way I do. And then Trey Lance,
the fastest guy in the combine.
And look, and there's a reason why the Niners are not going to get rid of Trey Lance. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance is not developed to what they thought he was going to be.
Nope.
That's why he's never going to get that chance because he hasn't developed yet. Now, maybe does he need the possibility of playing time to get there? Maybe, but you've seen guys like Josh Rosen drafted in the first round, like by Arizona, and then he bounces around teams and never gets a shot because he sucks. No offense. But it is what it is, man. I mean, look, I have, high hopes. Like me and you and Alex, I talk to y'all like we're boys, and I respect the hell out of the Bears organization. Even though I know they're not the best team out there, like I don't see them as a bad team. Like if I had to talk about the Cowboys, then we could talk about talking shit.
We can talk about them another time. We can bring someone. We can bring a Cowboys fan.
But you know me, that's always fun. Because we live in Texas. But you know me, I will always show respect to the Bears. Like, even though they haven't done anything as far as playoff championship-wise in almost 40 years, before you were born, before I was born.
No, they did make it to the Super Bowl, though. They did make it to the Super Bowl against the Colts. They just didn't win.
They just didn't. Well, that's what I'm saying, lack of championships.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. It's lack of championships.
Don't disrespect my Bears.
That's true. Your Bears did beat my Patriots to win that one title. You're right. It was bad. The Patriots sucked that year, but oh well. Tom Brady made us look good. Okay, shut up. But anyways, yeah, man. Good talk. I mean, we and you could talk about Pats or Bears a lot anytime, but we should make a plan to go to a game. I know Alex wanted to go to Cowboys Stadium to watch Bears and Cowboys. But he was saying that he found tickets that were super high priced. I found them super low. So, I mean, if you want to go to a Cowboys game, Cowboys Bears game, I don't mind going with y'all.
Actually, I'll let you know because my wife's cousin, they're a huge Cowboys fan, and I think they have.
Oh, I love to talk to both of y'all. I'll talk to both of y'all.
They have season tickets, and they sell them out. They've offered them to her before.
How many?
So
how many tickets are we talking about here?
I'll talk to them because I know they sell them out. They give them out to people. So I'll ask them and I'll see if they don't want to go to that game. Which I don't think a lot of people want to go to see the Bears play the Cowboys because they're gonna the Bears are gonna suck.
Well, the Cowboys fans are loyal. They'll go to their boys' games regardless. Like you're not gonna tell me Cowboys
just to watch an easy win, and I'm gonna be like, all right, if they lose to the Bears, I've gone to Patriots Texans games the last couple of years, hoping there was a win. It doesn't happen for me. If I decide to buy tickets for the Patriots versus Lions game because of a possibly easy win, I will do that. But Julian says it's all good. The Bears got some good and bad times. It's true. Everyone's got their ups and downs. It is what it is. And he also says this for all Cowboys fans. Cowboys, what a joke team. You're absolutely right. You traded away a Amari Cooper for a fifth round. You dumbasses. What the fuck is wrong with you? Julian, you absolutely right. You fucking dumbasses. Like, how do you get rid of your best player and only get a fifth rounder? Stupid. Pendejos way. I can't take y'all anymore. But anyways, that's all I got for tonight. Art, get out your plugs right now, man, so we can move on to enjoy the rest of our night and watch this beautiful game of basketball. So if you guys want to reach out to me and have any questions about, like, you guys just want to, like, talk, or maybe you want to come into the podcast and, like, have a quick conversation, you guys can hit me up at _Ibarra Design. Anything about, like, sports or anything, let me know. I can talk to Jose about getting you guys in for a quick conversation or something, but anything design-wise, just hit me up.
Bro, guys, You know me. If you talk to me outside of this, you know how much I love talking sports. Hell, I have a podcast talking about sports. We were so passionately talking about all this stuff. I didn't even realize Boston Celtics came up and are up by 17 on the Heat. That is beautiful to watch. It's fucking basketball is unpredictable as hell. But anyways, guys, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Puro Pinche Sports. On Twitter, Pinche Sports Pod. Like Art said, DM us, message us, leave a comment, whatever. If you want to hop on, make a debate, cool. If you want to hop on, just talk about sports, cool. We can make it happen. No worries.
If you want your business, just for us to like say something about your business and maybe get some subscribers, let us know.
Night, Julian. You take care, man. If you want, all I ask, don't bring politics into this shit. I don't give a fuck. Don't bring me no damn politics.
Just sports politics.
Sports politics I could do. I don't want any other politics, okay? None of that shit. Elections in 2 years, right? Whatever. Fuck that. Anyways, gas prices are going up. For Arturo Ibarra, I am Jose Garza. Julian was on the chat tonight. We are Puro Pinche Sports, guys, and we are out.
Out.